What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date here as we got some crazy news coming out here as we've had that shooting in Texas. And wow, it's really, we have some crazy movements going on here. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you what President Biden has to say here now about this. And the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has just made a major announcement. And wow. And then we have several other things here to announce here or to go over here in this video. This is a really good video. You're going to want to watch this all the way to the end. Check this out. Yeah, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced plans for a national freeze on handguns. This is major, major news here. And remember, I just did this video here in the last video or two where Australia actually kind of did the same thing here. And they had not had a mass shooting for, it was almost like 20 years. And then they had one. And now Canada is maybe potentially doing one here as well. And this is going to be a major battle in the U.S. because the U.S. is a lot of people have very, very different feelings about this here in the U.S. But here is at least what the Canada Prime Minister is saying here. You guys let me know your thoughts here on this. I know there's going to be a lot of very different feelings on this, but here, and I'll show you what President Biden here has to say here next. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Monday his government was introducing a new legislation to implement a, quote, national freeze on handgun ownership and prevent people from buying and selling handguns anywhere in the country. Whew. Yeah, he says, quote, the day this legislation goes into effect, it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns in Canada. Wow. If passed, the freeze on handguns is expected to come into force in the fall. They say potentially as early as August, I believe. So June, July, August. I mean, really not that far away. Canada's public safety minister has tabled regulatory amendments in Parliament to ensure it can be implemented swiftly, according to a ministry statement. This comes after what happened in Texas when 21 people have died after. I mean, it's worldwide news here at this point, and I mean everybody's reacting over it. Canada already has significantly stronger gun ownership restrictions than the U.S., and they're now thinking about upping it even more, even more. Canada has banned the sale of some 1,500 models of assault weapons like the AR-15 2 years ago already. Speaking alongside Trudeau, Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino confirmed the imminent launch of the initial phase of a program to buy back and compensate owners of such weapons. The new bill, named Bill C-21, also proposes taking away the firearms license of those involved in acts of domestic violence or criminal harassment such as stalking. You guys let me know your thoughts. Is this a good idea to do in the US? If someone has been involved in acts of domestic violence or criminal harassment or stalking, should people like that be allowed to own a gun? Let me know your thoughts here. And this is really big news because this is what lawmakers are considering doing stuff like this in the US. The legislation proposes stricter sentences for gun smugglers and traffickers and aims to provide law enforcement with new tools like wiretapping to stop gun crime. The government will also require long gun magazines to be permanently altered so they can never hold more than 5 rounds. This is to prevent the mass attacks that we're seeing, right? Remember, the US has had 213 of these in just 21 weeks here in the United States, just this year. So we're averaging 10 of these per week, 10 mass shootings per week in the United States. We are the only country that is anywhere close to this type of ratio. Yeah. And you could see here right from this New York Times articles, other major countries like Australia, Canada, who's also already partially changed their laws and now looking to do so further, and Britain, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Norway, all had a culture of gun ownership and all tightened restrictions anyways. Their violence statistics now diverge sharply from those of the United States. Yeah, here's what President Biden has to say.
Sir, do you think there is anything different in how Republicans will approach the gun reform question now, given the circumstances?
Since I haven't spoken to them, I don't know, but my guess is that yes, I think they're going to have to take a hard look.
Is there one element? Is it age? Is it red flag? Is it some component that you think could be most successful now?
Well, that's hard to say because I've not been negotiating with any of the Republicans yet. And I deliberately did not engage in a debate about that with any Republican when we were down consoling families in Texas. So I don't know what is the most, how far it goes. I know that it makes no sense to be able to purchase something that can fire up to 300 rounds. I know what happened when we had rational action before, back in the Trump bill, with the law that got passed. It did significantly cut down mass murder. And so there's only one reason for something that can fire, 100 shots. And I'll just conclude with this. Look, when I first started doing hearings on the issue of what rational gun laws should be, it was during a period when I was a senator and the death rate was going up. Not that many more people were being shot, but the death rate was up. And I think it was, I'm not sure, I think it was Hahnemann Hospital in New York, whatever the largest trauma hospital is. And I sat with a trauma doc. And I asked him, I said, what's the difference? Why are so many people, not that many more people are being shot? This is now 20 years ago, or 25 years. I said, why are they dying? And they showed me a x-ray. He said a 22 caliber bullet will lodge in the lung, and we can probably get it out, may be able to get it and save the life. A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body. So the idea of these high caliber weapons there's simply no rational basis for it in terms of about self-protection, hunting. And remember, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, was never absolute. You couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was passed. You couldn't go out and purchase a lot of weapons. And those who, not many are saying it anymore, but there was a while there where people were saying that, the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots, and what we have to do is have to be able to take on the government when they're wrong. Well, to do that, you need an F-15, you need a Abrams tank. So it's just, I think things have gotten so bad that everybody's getting more rational about it. At least that's my hope and prayer. I have a Gold Star moms in there. So
Sir, I know you want Congress to act, but do you believe as president you have a particular responsibility now?
Oh, I know I have to, but there's a Constitution. I can't dictate this stuff. I can do the things I've done, and any executive action I can take, I'll continue to take. But I can't outlaw a weapon. I can't, change the background checks. I can't do that. And my whole career I've been doing it. Persuasion, yeah. But there's been a few things happening. I know you're good at it. You've had to travel.
McConnell has directed Senator Cornyn to search for a compromise. Do you really think there's something there, or are they just making noise?
I don't know, but I think there's a realization on the part of rational Republicans, and I consider McConnell a rational Republican, and Cornyn is as well. I think there's a recognition on their part that they can't continue like this. You can't do this. I've got to win. I got the Gold Star.
Yeah, so here's the question, right? The United States is definitely there's millions of people who own guns here and just do not want them taken away. So I think we all kind of know that's just not going to happen. So we have to be realistic here that that's not going to happen. Republicans, especially, again, I'm not from either party, so that's not going to happen. But we also don't want to see our children in schools and mass shootings like this, especially because we've seen so many other countries successfully stop this. So we got to be realistic here. When we see major other countries like, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, all these other countries basically stop this. I mean, you get a few of them happen, but we've had 213 of them just in this year alone. So let's be realistic. We don't want to continue to see hundreds of these happen every single year. But you got to be realistic that you're never going to be able to stop them all. So you just got to kind of come together. Let's say I was the Republican leader or the Democratic leader, or I was in Congress. You got to come together and just try to do some type of, let's sit down together in Congress and say, what can we rationally, realistically do? Let's put some type of legislation forward that can whittle down that number. For example, a 28-day wait. Australia did a 20. So just so you know, like Australia, they didn't ban the sale on all firearms. Okay. One of the things they did was a 28-day wait. So when you get a person who is, has hate in their heart and they want to go out and buy a gun right away, they can't. They got to wait 28 days. Okay. So think about that. Someone who, I mean, when you have to have that happen, that probably weeds out a lot of people, a lot of incidences, right? Okay, because think about it. Someone's just unbelievably upset. They go buy a gun. What happens? Okay, you have a 28-day wait, 30-day wait, whatever they come up with, right? That's a good safety measure. Okay, nobody needs to be in a hurry to buy a gun. Okay? That's a good idea. Background checks. Good idea, right? I mean, if you're a felon who has stabbed people, has, armed robbery, like, think about these type of things, right? These are good ideas. Come to a compromise and let's have Republicans and Democrats come to a compromise. Now, the problem here is when you have all these Republicans who are, and again, I'm not bashing Republicans here. I'm just thinking about this rationally. When you have all these Republicans who are sponsored by the NRA, we have a little bit of a conflict of interest here. I mean, that's like saying people who are sponsored by the drug companies trying to pass drug legislation. it's a conflict of interest. But I think that they could get something done, especially because the way it's going to go down here as just a rationalist here, probably almost all the Democrats are going to vote for it, and the Democrats can pass it in the House on their own, and they're only going to need 10 Republicans in the Senate. And Mitch McConnell, Mitch McConnell is, even as Biden said there, he is rational on a lot of things. Sometimes he wasn't rational at all on the $1,400 stimulus checks, in my opinion, that Trump wanted to pass. But on some things, he's very rational. On some things he'll actually go forward and sit down and like the bipartisan infrastructure package. That was something that they had been trying to pass for a long, long time, and infrastructure week was a running joke in Congress for years, and they got it done. And a lot of Republicans didn't want to pass it because they didn't want to like give a win to the Democrats. But let's be realistic. We needed infrastructure, and guess what? We got it done, and it was a good thing for our country. Okay, infrastructure is something that we need. In fact, if you look at infrastructure ratings for our country, we've been falling behind other countries by a long shot, and it's something that will help bring our country back. We just seen that bridge collapse in Pittsburgh not too long ago, but it's like those type of things are things that like we need infrastructure dollars for. Okay, and lead pipes that are like still in the United States. Like why? But nonetheless, Mitch McConnell got the votes for it, and like Republicans in the House criticized them, and it's like Republicans have been trying to get infrastructure passed for years. And for years they couldn't get a deal done, and this was like the first time that they actually got an infrastructure done together, Democrats and Republicans. And I get that the bill's not perfect. You're never going to get a bill that's perfect. There's always going to be people that criticize a large package bill like that. You can criticize stimulus package 1, you can criticize stimulus package 2, you can criticize stimulus package 3. There's people that criticize all these packages, right? There's going to be people that say they're too large. There's going to be people that say there's too small. You're going to get people that say that there's not enough. There's going to get people that say that they should have never passed anything to begin with. Again, there's people on both sides of the fence that just, it is what it is, right? The question here is that will Mitch McConnell is probably the key to all this, because if Mitch McConnell says no in the Senate, they probably won't pass anything. It just is what it is. And we'll just continue to see 10 mass shootings a week, every single week in the United States for years and years and years to come. Or can we whittle that down? Can we cut that in half? Can we cut that down by 75%? Can we cut it down by 25%? There are things we can do. And we can do this because other countries have done it successfully. Massive countries like, and I get that, Australia's smaller, Canada's smaller, other countries are smaller, but like if they've cut their down, these incidences down by significant amounts, we can too. 30-day waiting periods, 28-day waiting periods, background checks, all sorts of things like this. I mean, just think about what banning assault rifles, like with 100-round magazines. Like, does an average person need a AR-15 with a 100-round magazine? Like, what do you think an average person does with something like that? Like, is it really needed? And listen, my brother was in the Army, and my grandfather was in the Navy. So I mean, I can understand it, but like, you don't really need that like as a regular person out on the street, So you let me know your thoughts, but like this and like the Roe versus Wade thing are like two major major decisions here that are going to be made or not made relatively really really soon here, and will or will not affect the direction of our country and our people here really, really soon. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I will keep you up to date here. It's going to be a major decision, one way or another. So make sure to subscribe down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribing is completely free to do so. After you subscribe, click the bell icon down below so you get notifications as soon as we go live with new videos. You can click here to see my new video on Social Security updates and raises that just came out. And this video is my new video on stimulus check video that I just did here as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.